friends.
Hi.
Hi, Trey.
Hi.
Ann is at a conference this week where she's busy from like early morning to night. So we have our friend, my coach, Trey, Burdette, who you might have heard in episode 5. If not, you might want to go back.
Please go back.
Yes. So thank you again for being here.
Sure, my pleasure.
So we're going to talk about Murph Prep today, yeah?
Sure.
I think I remember one time, maybe a few months ago, we were talking about this already because I already had it in my head. And you said, oh, we don't usually do Murph Prep, but is that right?
Yeah, I haven't programmed specifically. We have always done Murph, but I've never really programmed it as a standalone sort of cycle. And we just changed it this year. The participation is growing. We typically don't do a lot of high volume training, particularly because it just wrecks people for whatever reason. Yeah. And so I decided to change it up this year. We're doing a standalone sort of Murph cycle before the end of May.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. And did it just start this week?
No, we've been doing this for, I think we're in our 3rd week now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did notice there were a lot of pull-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yesterday was definitely, it was like, oh, this is super Murphy.
It's super Murphy.
Yeah.
There's one day in particular per training week that is really geared towards the combination of pulling, pushing, and running type of.
So I think this is my 3rd time. When I first started doing CrossFit, it was in June. So I missed 2018. So I missed 2018. 2019, I did I think a half Murph variation kind of thing.
This is a community day, right? This is a day where we can just suffer together in a workout that is very difficult to do, and scores don't really matter. Yeah. What matters is the effort, particularly if you know the backstory of Murphy. So, yeah, I've done it once. I did half Murph with my wife the year before that.
Or like a partner.
Yep. We did partner Murph, and then I've done it, and I did it unvested last year. So this year will be the first time I'm going to attempt it RX.
Yeah.
And we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So last year, 2020 didn't happen. Didn't do Murph. 2021, I did it here.
Yeah.
Yeah, after being here like a month.
Yeah, you weren't here.
And I had taken off several months before that. I had all those issues, body problems.
How did you modify it last year?
I did the bike.
I'm a horrible person for not remembering this as your coach.
No, you're not. It was a long time ago, and the whole gym did it. So I did a bike Murph. Okay. I think I did a half bike Murph. I might have done all the in-between stuff. Yeah. But, I did jumping pull-ups and I did push-ups from my knees, which I know you're not a fan of. And I did not know that at the time. So I literally was probably the only one in the gym doing those.
I don't think so. We've sort of tried to phase that out over periodically. They still pop up every now and again. But
and it never, it wasn't that hard either. I thought it was going to be, but I was like, oh, okay, this was fine.
I felt the same on half. When my wife and I did it, I think we did it in 37 minutes, which was not fast. We were just sort of round here, we were sort of alternating rounds. So we had built-in rest. It was not super challenging in terms of volume or workout. I felt good afterwards. Yeah. The second half of Murph was a thing. Yeah. That's when it was, I'm at a threshold here. Yeah. And I've got to keep, telling myself to move. Which again is sort of the point of these hero workouts, right? I mean, it's not about a score necessarily. It's about these people, hero watts typically have passed. Yeah. And it's about you're alive. Yeah. So be grateful for the opportunity to move. But the second half was a thing. So I'm with you. I totally agree that the first half is let's do this. We're rocking and rolling. And then you hit this, because it's muscular endurance, you just hit this wall.
Yeah, so I totally haven't done that yet. And so I was thinking maybe I'd do the full one this year. But then also I was thinking, well, I never did the push-ups for real, and I never did the pull-ups for real.
Well, I think there's so many ways that you can adjust and modify.
Yeah.
You could do full reps with modifications for the movements. Mm-hmm. There's there's various ways. Yeah. And so, not to put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
So comment and ask her what she does at Murph. But I think you could completely do
put it down here.
Full reps, but modified push-ups.
Yeah. I'm working on my push-ups now. So
and they look great. Now it's just getting more and more and more, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of the point.
So I wasn't in class today, but I did an EMOM.
Did you?
I was setting out I didn't know if I could, but I set out to do a 20-minute EMOM of 5 push-ups every minute.
Yeah.
And I made it to 15 minutes. I could have done 20, but my left shoulder, I was like, that feels like I'm straining it a little too much, and I had some issues there a few months ago, so I stopped. But I did 75 push-ups.
Yeah, I think that's great. In 15 minutes, which is just. I mean, there's other work in a Murph. Well, in Murph there would be other work, right?
Yeah, I'd still be resting my shoulder.
But you would still. So that's those are some valid ways to build up that tolerance.
Yeah, and we still have at this point we still have 7 weeks. So
yeah, we got a lot, and we did. Yesterday was tough, and it was over. What was it, 60% of the Murph volume?
Yeah, it was exactly 60%. Not of the run.
The run was about half, but.
Yeah, so we did 4 rounds, 3 rounds of Cindy followed by a 400-meter run, and then you rested until 7-minute mark. So, and then, repeat that 3 more times. And for me, the second round was really hard, and then I came in like after 7 minutes, I think.
We modified.
And so the third round I did 2 rounds. And then the 4th round, you're like, you could do 2 rounds again. And I'm like, no, I can do 3 now.
I was just trying to be...
Yeah. I just need a little break or like a catch-up time.
Yeah, totally. No, but it was those Murph days, like I just need people to understand the volume that is coming because it's a thing. And if you're not comfortable, what makes me uncomfortable as a coach is when people haven't been here that long and they are hell-bent on doing full Murph because they're in a CrossFit gym and it's the thing to do. Yeah. And that's when people can wreck themselves. That's what makes me nervous.
So let's talk about 7 weeks out now, but when they're watching it, it might be 1, 2, 3.
Sure.
So what are some of the kind of workouts you're programming for us, or what should people do, at home? The pull-up bar is really the only equipment.
Yeah. I don't want to say this for everybody, but what I have experienced is pull-ups are usually not the limiter.
Right. Yeah. They won't be.
You might get to a point where you're doing singles, but you can do singles, typically. Mm-hmm. The push-ups are where most people fry up. And I think there's a lot of, there's some things that go into this. One, I think there is some physiological muscular endurance problems that we don't do sets of 50 at a time, typically. At least that's not what we do. So those big sets tend to catch up to people, and they overestimate when they need to break. Mm-hmm. And they don't break when they should, and they go to failure. And when they go to failure, it becomes less likely that they can do the reps that they're supposed to do.
So some planning.
So there's some actual physiological adaptations to be able to handle that volume, 1. And then 2, there's some self-awareness. Yeah. When do you need to break them up? How big do your sets need to be? Mm-hmm. Can you go unbroken for a long time before, things go sideways?
Yeah, how
slow, what's your pacing, all of those things. And so we're trying to up the volume a little bit so we can adapt to the physiology, right? We can sort of get comfortable with those higher volumes. But then we try to, in those individual classes, sort of get people to think in the moment about how they're feeling. Mm-hmm. And that's a challenging thing because if you've ever done a CrossFit workout, your brain tends to shut off. Like you just stop thinking. You can't count how many rounds, you forget how many reps you did. And now I'm trying to get you to be more in tune with how you're feeling so that you can stop moving before you fail. Mm-hmm. That becomes I'm going to use the phrase, a higher order sort of level of thinking in the moment that a lot of people just don't go. They just don't go there. So that's the other part of it is, what can you do? What does your strategy look like so that you can make it through in the most efficient way possible with the best technique that you can, in the best time? That self-awareness has to be there, because we don't do a lot of coaching during those Murph workouts. It's like, let's go. Like, you just do the thing. And so we try to prime you to think about those types of things in classes, so that when you get into a day like Murph or an open or some other, event, you have some skills that you can kind of, self-evaluate.
Yeah. I already realized yesterday, I need to work on my push-ups. I mean, I knew that before, but then, yesterday we only had total 60 push-ups, right?
No, that's not true. 120 push-ups.
120.
120
right,
push-ups.
60 pull-ups.
60 pull-ups, 120
120 push-ups.
So, it wasn't an insignificant amount of volume.
Yeah, it was a lot of push-ups, and so, I started on this box on the low, and which I was going to use the teeny box, but I'm glad that you had the foresight to know I was going to need a bigger box. So what is this, 20 inch?
24, right, what you're sitting on now.
Okay, well, I started on the 20 inch, and then after the second round, I came back in and you had made it the highest, which was 30. 30. Yeah. Which that then, since I'm so short, that felt really easy, but then it started not to. So,
and that's the thing. That's the thing with, some of these muscular endurance movements. You hit a wall, and man, they come on quick. Like, they feel good, and then they do not feel good anymore.
Yeah.
And that becomes a thing. So pull-ups, again, for me, is not the limiter.
Yeah.
And I don't think it is for most people. I think they can kind of figure out those 5 reps at a time.
Yeah.
But the 10 is just enough to be a problem.
Oh, yeah. So
I
have already planned. I'm doing 20 rounds of 5 push-ups, 5 pull-ups, 5 push-ups, 15 years.
I think I'm going to follow you.
It's gonna help.
The transitions will be a little slower, right? You'll have to get up and down more.
But I'll need that rest.
I don't. Yeah, I think that's not a terrible strategy for push-ups, particularly since I'm going to do it vested for the first time, and that's what scares me. Like, I'll figure out the run. The air squats or whatever.
Yeah.
The pull-ups will do singles, but the push-ups is what I'm worried about.
So are you going to prepare with vested stuff?
Yeah, so on the days that we don't have a lot of people that have vests, but on the days that we are specifically working on Murph, we sort of allow people that have the capacity to go there, right, to vest up. We don't do it every day. We don't do it all the time, but on those specific days where we're working on Murph, I need people to feel what that extra weight is like if they're going to do it vested.
Yeah.
And so we sort of occasionally bring them out.
So any other guidelines for people who are doing a Murph or
one? No, not look. I mean, I think most CrossFit gyms are programming, even if they're not programming specifically for Murph. They you get the volume sort of by nature. I think remembering why you're doing this particular workout. There's so many hero workouts now, but this is sort of the one that catches even non-CrossFit people kind of know what Murph is.
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
I've had to explain.
You have to explain it to a bunch of people. But if you said what's another hero workout to a non-CrossFitter, Murphy, they might have heard about.
Right.
Not the other one. Just remember, because it's going to suck.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to be in the middle of it, and it's going to be hard, particularly that second run, man. That second run is a psychological hurdle. Yeah. At least it was for me. And I didn't have a vest on. But you remember why you're doing it. And then it gives you a little bit of a kick in the rear to finish. And then it becomes a big community day. And so I'm going to use the term enjoy. Yeah. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Your score, by the way, your score does not matter.
Because we have,
Your score doesn't matter.
Right.
You're not going to the games. If you're not a professional, your score doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, just to finish this.
Finishing is enough, really cool. Particularly if you've never, if you haven't done it a lot, if you don't know how this is going to feel, just completing it is a task, and we celebrate that. Mm-hmm. Even if it takes you an hour and 30 minutes, like we celebrate finishing.
Yeah.
Because it's a task.
And it's just like a little bit of a tribute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, hey, there's people that sacrifice their lives.
That's right.
And we're just kind of like, hey, we're going to make ourselves suffer a little more
than
usual.
That's right. That's right. And you
in honor of that.
Yeah, that's right. And you just have that kick in the rear.
Yeah.
When that tough moment happened. And it does. For me, it happened about the 800-meter mark on my second run last year. I had to talk myself into not walking.
So close to being done.
No, and then I told myself, I said, all right, you've made it to the 800. You got 800 to go. Like,
you can probably just be like, okay, up till there.
That's right.
Up till there.
Oh, there's. I think that is.
You can't walk now, but if you still feel like it, maybe
that's right. Yeah. We talk about mental toughness. People talk about mental toughness a lot, but it's hard to define. Like, what does that mean? One of the definitions that I have heard that I think is pretty well said is you think about the right things at the right time. And in that moment, to be mentally tough enough to say, I don't have to do 60 more reps. I got to do 5. I got to do 2. I've got to run to that light pole. You just break it up into these small increments that are manageable, and it builds this mental blueprint for you to keep going. Mm-hmm. And then before you know it, it's done.
And tell yourself you're so close.
You're so close, yeah.
And project how good you're going.
That's right. And listen,
just project finishing.
Yeah.
It's like you will finish it.
And you will finish. Yeah. I mean, I don't think you fail on this workout. This is a mental exercise, just as much as physical, for sure.
Well, I have failed mentally before.
We all have. Yeah. But these are the days where it's like, nope, you're not going to fail. You're going to keep.
So, what is the name of the book and movie? Documentary?
There was a movie called The Lone Survivor. Okay. Mark Wahlberg was Marcus Luttrell. Marcus Luttrell. He was on the operation with Lieutenant Michael Murphy. Okay. So he was the survivor from that operation, and he wrote a book called The Lone Survivor as well. Movie is not the same as the book. I've only watched the movie. My wife has done both and says the book is far more just an emotional role, right? You roll with them emotionally more than the movie. But when you understand at least the story, man, it's like, okay, like let's do this. Like we can make it.
Yeah, so maybe I'll watch that before.
Yeah. We did last year.
Oh, as a group? Or
I wish we could do that as a group.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good idea. No, that's a good idea. Yeah. Good idea. Bring a projector. We'll do a little.
We could do
like
Friday. Yeah, we can do like Friday evening before Monday.
Yeah, a Friday night movie night.
All right. Well, any questions about Murph or preparing? Please leave them in the comments. I'll make sure to check. Ask Trey. Look it up. Whatever. Thanks. Thank you, Trey.